Hello everyone, my name is Denise. I'm a Catholic counselor, and today I'll be doing the third and final review of The Four Loves by C.S. Lewis. So, it is very timely that somehow God intended that I finish this book right now when my mind is grappling over some more complex issues about how to give love in a way to preserve the dignity of others, and also how to receive love in a humble way that is so touched by God, such that you receive love with so much humility and self-knowledge that it does not cause any chafing or pain within the psyche. No need to do mental yoga. Okay, so anyway, there's like 5 little birds here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, let's go through one of each of them one by one. So let's take a look at page 140. He needs help, therefore needs to be rude. The god dies or becomes a demon unless he obeys God. So that's talking about Eros. Okay. This point, I read that because I thought it was beautiful. But the main point is this. The loves prove that they are unworthy to take the place of God by the fact that they cannot even remain themselves and do what they promise to do without God's help. Okay? Even for their own sakes, the loves must submit to be the second things if they are to remain the things they want to be. In this yoke lies their true freedom. They are taller when they bow. For when God rules in a human heart, though he may sometimes have to remove certain of its native authorities altogether, he often continues others in their offices, and by subjecting their authority to his, gives it for the first time a firm basis. Emerson has said, when half-gods go, the gods arrive. This is a very doubtful maxim. Better say, when God arrives, and only then the half-gods can remain. Which I think is beautiful. Which actually sets the stage for all the other loves he talks about, like affection, friendship, eros. Like all these can only be themselves when they are subordinate to God, or in a way when they have been touched by God's love. That's when they become more fully themselves. Okay? I ever taught you all? Yes, I think I have. I've spoken about it, like how a human being is like this, but we are always striving to be, striving towards the transcendental goods, the good, the true, and the beautiful. We're striving to become a better version of ourselves. Whether we know it or not, we're all trying to become like saints, which is the way that God has intended us to be. Similarly, I believe all these loves within ourselves, whether it's romantic love for our partner or friendship, all these also want to grow up and become in their fullest expression what it's meant to be. And in order to be like that, they have to be touched by God's love. They have to look at Jesus' role model and emulate it. But okay, when I say that, I know that it's impossible. Emulate it with the power and the grace of God. Okay, he has to be touched by it. I don't know why the feeling I get is like, got to put the vanilla essence in the cake, then it will taste good, right? You need to add that. Otherwise, the cake is just not complete. I hope that makes sense, and that probably is a really bad metaphor. I'll tell you when I come up with a better one. So here, I quite like this page 147. There is no escape along the lines St. Augustine suggests. I know, right? The new Pope is Augustinian. Now everybody is quoting St. Augustine. And let me join them in the ranks of bootlicking. Okay. There is no safe investment. To love at all is to be vulnerable. Love anything and your heart will certainly be wrung and possibly be broken. If you want to make sure of keeping intact, you must give your heart to no one, not even to an animal. Wrap it carefully round with hobbies and little luxuries. Avoid all entanglements. Lock it up safe in the cascade or coffin of your selfishness. But in this cascade, safe, dark, motionless and airless, it will change. It will not be broken. It will become unbreakable, impenetrable, irredeemable. The alternative to tragedy, or at least to the risk of tragedy, is damnation. The only place outside heaven where you can be perfectly safe from all the dangers and perturbations of love is hell. so beautifully made. So we either make ourselves vulnerable and fall in love and be in heaven, or our capacity to love grows deformed with time and we find ourselves in some kind of hell. So it's very interesting because C.S. Lewis in his other writings also said that we mustn't assume that in heaven there'll be no longer any pain. Because in this case, loving makes you vulnerable, and being vulnerable means that people who love you or whom you love can cause you lots of pain, and you can cause other people pain as well. But it is still worth it. It's still worth enduring that pain than to be all alone, shrunken and deformed. Okay, here. Very interesting. So he was talking about it like need love and give love. Very beautifully he said that God has everything. So how do we give to God? Well, Jesus taught us how to give to God. And as all Christians know, this page 156, there is another way of giving to God. Every stranger whom we feed or clothe is Christ. And this apparently is give love to God whether we know it or not. Right? So this is beautifully put. If you really want to give back to God, then you need to help the poor, the stranger, to visit those who are in prison. And that's the way to give to God. Okay, so this is very interesting. This is the last of my bookmarks, page 159. We want to be loved for our cleverness, beauty, generosity, fairness, usefulness. The first hint that anyone is offering us the highest love of all is a terrible shock. This is so well recognized that spiteful people will pretend to be loving us with charity precisely because they know that it would wound us. To say to one who expects a renewal of affection, friendship or eros, I forgive you as a Christian, is merely a way of continuing the quarrel. Okay? So that's very interesting because lately the last video, I offended a whole lot of people in my last video. And my sister was very forcefully asking me to remove that video. It's very offensive and it doesn't reflect well on me. But now I start to understand that when we, in our own weakness and imperfections as I am, try to extend my hand out, I may come across as a person who is trying to give the highest form of love. I know right now you're in a very bad place. I know you are irritable. I know you are not that pleasing to the eye and quite unpleasant and chafing to my soul because you are a nasty person to me. But I still love you, and I'm going to extend to you an act of generosity that would hurt me. I'm willing to sacrifice for you. So receiving that kind of love is really tough. It requires a whole lot of humility. And also, I feel like if I use, psychodrama role theory, people who have been abused before or in a very dark place in their lives, they tend to that the role of the beloved is not well trained in them. They don't know how to receive help. It requires actually a lot of humility to receive help. So recently I was at Mossburger, and then I saw this old lady trying to carry the tray by herself, and I rushed over to try to help her. And then she said, no, I'll do it myself. Then I said, okay, fine, you do it yourself. Because she happens to be sitting beside me, I'll just go back to the table. So she brought the food back to the table, and she even shared some of the food with me and talked to me for 1 hour. She's very good at so-called giving. She wants to give me her butterfly prawns, right? And she wants to talk to me, give me her life advice, but she's not so good at receiving help. And when I was serving at the clocking my internship hours at the nursing home, it's the same. Except that those elderly there are actually, they've really so-called more or less trained up better the role of being a receiver of help already, because they have no choice. They are not so mobile, They might need people to help them to use the toilet and all that throughout the day. So in a way, they had more time to train that, and to, instead of feeling humiliated, now welcome help and be grateful for the helper. So that's very interesting. I'm going to read the very last one. It's kind of sad that my page has fallen out, but let's take a look at this. Suppose yourself, this 160, suppose yourself a man struck down shortly after marriage by an incurable disease which may not kill you for many years. Useless, impotent, hideous, disgusting, depending on your wife's earnings, impoverishing where you hope to enrich, impaired even in intellect and shaken by gusts of uncontrollable temper, full of unavoidable demands, and suppose your wife's care and pity to be inexhaustible. The man who can take this sweetly, who can receive all and give nothing without resentment, who can abstain even from those tiresome self-deprecations which are really only a demand for petting and reassurance, is doing something which need love in its merely natural condition could not attain. Right? So that is just like spot on and so succinct. For him to sit there quietly and to be nursed and to be cared for by his wife without any self-deprecation or any outlash on his wife, that kind of fully developed saintly role of a recipient of love is a love, a neat love that has been touched by God at the vanilla essence. Okay, if you want to do that on human power, that is not easy. The natural knee-jerk reaction will be to fight back and to attack the giver of love. Okay, and also I was thinking about like other comments, like my sister said, you give 200, that's why she was so angry. If you give 20,000, she would love you. No, I don't at that point in my life, I don't think I had the capacity to give that amount of money, or to also even offer her a safe place to stay in my own home. I didn't have that ability, so I can't do that, because I had my own responsibility as a mother, as a wife, and all that. So that was really as far as I could go, and she knew that about me. She knew that about me. So I don't think she would have asked for that as well. And also, $20,000. How entitled must you be to expect $20,000 from a friend or a stranger? This is just bizarre. If anybody out of nowhere gives 20,000, and she herself not a billionaire or millionaire, right? Then you really have to really evaluate carefully if you want to accept that kind of help. You just think about it. So, okay, this is quite deep, and I don't want to belabor at any points. What I want to say is, really hope that God can bless us and infuse us with what He is, which is love, divine love, and make all our loves beautiful and saintly as they ought to be. Thank you so much, and God bless.